Good evening, everyone. Thank you all once again for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bangaluru, India. This session will run over the next 90 minutes, including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Also, please feel free to scan the QR code that I will be sharing in the Q&A section shortly to get all the resources from today's session. Quick word on our code of conduct. We display this at all Microsoft Reactor events that we run, and it's just a reminder to be aware of others. Key thing to take out here is to be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. I will now hand over to Vivek to start the session. Over to you, Vivek.
Thanks, Rashmita, and I would love to welcome all of you to the unboxing the Ignite, unpacking it basically. We are going to unpack the Microsoft Ignite event which happened, and unfortunately it took place when Diwali was happening. So most of us would haven't gone through all the sessions. Maybe we attended a couple of keynotes, couple of sessions, but not everything. So for people who want to follow the complete announcements, we have packaged it as a kind of a book, and I have shared the link in the chat. I can share it again as well, just while I'm speaking to the experts here. So I'll definitely share that again as well, so that you can go back and walk, you know, read yourself the announcements whichever we have made, and make yourself familiar with the updates we have done. It's almost like 90 plus updates. It's in the book. So please make sure you spend some time, probably in the weekend, enjoy reading all those new things which is coming in. So from today's specific roundtable, community roundtable, we wanted to have wanted to hear the perspective of the community leaders on the couple of announcements which we made and the area of expertise they have, and they want to express themselves in terms of what it could be, and what how to get started with it, and what could be the business use cases for those areas. And we have broken down this into three different parts. One is Microsoft MVPs are here, Priyesh and Dinesh, who have joined us, and we have community leaders, that is Niloshima, Amrish, Arvind, Vivek, Naveen. Everybody has joined us. It's a mix of young and experienced people out there. And then at the end of this specific session, we will also have students' perspective, so that we hear them, and I mean, they will be excited to build so many new things, which we are not excited to build, right? They're more with energy, and they enjoy doing stuff which we might not do, right? So that's the kind of discussion we're going to have with them as well. So first up, I would like to get the perspective from the MVPs. So I would invite Priyesh and Dinesh to introduce yourself. Let us know your background. And by the way, Priyesh is our Power Platform MVP, and Dinesh is our Data Platform MVP. They are experts in these two different platforms, respectively. And if you have any questions around that, not just today, it could be later on as well, just reach out to them and they'll be happy to answer those questions for you as well. So Priyesh and Dinesh, if you can introduce yourself, that would be great, and then we can get started.
Sure. Dinesh, you wanna go first?
Yeah, let me, no problem. So, yeah, thanks Vivek and other folks who have joined, and I thanks for this opportunity as well. And my full name is Dinesh Kumar Prabhakaran. I'm currently at Coimbatore, working for a company called Kisflow as a product manager for the analytics squad. So, community is always a passion for me, and the same as Azure is always passionate for me. I always love the perspectives around data, even indirectly, And even I have met a couple of folks, Aravind and one other folk as well in another meetup. So happy to see you all. There you go.
Thanks, Dinesh. Hi, everyone. Good evening. If you all are joining from India, my name is Priyesh Wag, and I work as a solution architect with a company called CloudFronts in Mumbai. So I'm living in Mumbai, and it's great to be a part of Reactor. So this is my first Reactor. I would like to thank all the organizers for having me on board and having me share my thoughts. And it's always about the community, as Dinesh said that community is that drives the social and the knowledge factor hand in hand. That's how I also started my journey, being a young fresher who is afraid to take risks eventually, and then getting to seek help from the community, and then to give back to the community, and eventually being an MVP. So always happy to share all my experiences with you and also learn in turn. So looking forward for this fabulous reactor event this evening. Thanks.
Thanks, Prayesh and Dinesh. It's our pleasure to host you at the Reactor, and talking about the Ignite, right? Microsoft Ignite, which happened. Uh, if you can, Prayesh, basically, this question is for
Yeah.
you. So if you can uh, talk, at the top of your mind, what is that excited you about Ignite announcements,
Yes.
specifically from your Power Platform background, which you have.
Yes. So the first thing and the most striking one was the Powerapps mobile apps piece, where now you can have you will be able to have native iOS and Android apps built right from your Power Platform studio. This is something that I don't know if I secretly really wished for it, but that somehow is happening, and I really wanted to, because whenever I used to look at natives app and I used to think that, oh, these are some kind of cool components that unfortunately is not possible with Canvas Power Apps, but now all that is changing, and everything that I had perceived previously is going for a toss, and in a good way that you can now build native apps, you can have multiple Canvas apps in one Power App. And if the experience is native, I think the performance would increase significantly, and the end user experience would be, just blurring the lines between having a Canvas Power App and an actual native app. So that is what really stuck with me. Looking forward to it.
Perfect. Yeah, so I think that's a wonderful power to have, right? Building that native Android and iOS app both, support which is being provided. I also, from a Power Platform perspective, when I went through the announcements, there were a couple of announcements with respect to Power Automate, and
Yes.
just for the audience, can
Yes.
you just throw some use case around the Power Automate platform?
Yes. So in general, if you guys are new to Power Platform, so Power Platform is your low-code automation tool which you can access, and as an app maker or as a flow builder, they call it flows in Power Automate. You can have your automation to connect to different apps in the ecosystem within Microsoft ecosystem, and also from connectors outside of Microsoft ecosystem. What you can do is whatever wasn't possible previously in such an easy way. So the first thing that Power Automate does is gets you to solutions and automation in the quickest way possible, so that you don't have to worry about developing something if you're not a developer. So that business analysts in organizations can also learn this quickly, fairly easily, and get their automations in place. What was announced at Ignite was having Power Automate within Teams. And for me, that is like, okay, so there are some people also in organizations who are not really um, part of the Power Automate flow building thing, but they can still have their own personal automations in place, built into into Microsoft Teams, and then use those automations to collaborate more effectively than just trying to pick contacts from their list and trying to shoot messages. It the applications are as creative as you can be. So that is a really great part of it. It lets you be creative and gets your work done.
So, is there any use cases for
Yes.
that Teams
So
integrations
for
which you can bring out?
right.
Yeah.
So one use case I also personally felt was very important that as a solution architect, I have a team of 7 to 8 people working with me. And let's say in conversations, in quick paced conversations, when we have over teams, we ask about some things, our team members answer something back, and we keep it in our mind. And going to a to-do list is really a little tedious task to make a note of what I want to really expect from this team member. One super template that Power Automate for Teams allows is that you can have reminders for these messages, right? Follow up for the messages that you're having in conversations with. So just like how you reply on WhatsApp, you go into more options in someone's messages and just flag that message to remind that to you at a certain time. So let's say if a team member said that, oh yeah, I will let you know in like 15 minutes, give me 15 minutes and I'll let you know about it. So I can just flag that message, set a timer for myself that I have to follow up with this message in 15 minutes, so that even if I'm in some other meeting or if I'm easily distracted into working into something else, my flow bot would come up in Power Automate and say, hey, there was this conversation going on, which is a message you flagged to remind you in 10 minutes. You want to really go back and do that. So that is one super effective use case, I would say. Yeah,
So you may say there is a templates which
there are
has been
templates.
introduced.
Yes.
So I can pick and choose those
Yes,
templates to build those
correct. You can
automations.
easily, yes, you can easily build those templates so that they appear in your messages context menu. And then as you work through those, you can use those templates to set these small automations for yourself, and you would be reminded, notifications would go out, and that all stuff will happen. This is within Teams, but if you still know Power Automate from the platform, from the web browser itself, you can also use adaptive cards to bring some approvals. So approvals is also a major part here, where people ask about can I do this, and then you don't know if in jurisdiction you should allow or not, and you don't remember if you said yes to something. So it's good that you can build some approval automation also using Power Automate in Teams.
You can custom build those templates as well,
We
right?
can
You
custom build those templates and have those included in as well. Yeah.
got it. So I also read about the Microsoft Power BI app integrations into Teams as well.
Yes. Yes.
You know, how does that changes the dynamics within the business ecosystem?
Yes. So reports. So today, how the trend is that not just management side of the organization wants to see reports. Today, reports are built more and more for the wider visibility within the organization, right? To take a very simple example, if not going into much detail, something like a leave report, which is an HR thing, right? Which we want to see that if someone is on a leave, so that we don't accidentally just buzz them in when we should not, and having those Power BI reports built in and using that in the Power BI app, which is now in general availability. It was in preview for a long, long time, but now since it's GA, please feel free to add it to your teams already, and all the reports you have access to, such as these reports which have a wider visibility towards common aspects within your organization. Like if you have built some gamification stuff with your organization, or if you want to track some opportunities that you want to let everyone know about, these things we can have your custom Power BI reports built in. And because of having your Power BI apps, if you have access to those reports, you can just add those reports in your Power BI app. You would be able to access it there. You can also pin these reports to a certain tab. Let's say project management is one channel in your teams, and not everyone would want to know about certain things happening in those projects, but you have some custom Power BI reports built for those um, projects, or let's say some, you know speaking of dynamics, some field service items. Those specific reports could be built into certain teams channels, so that you don't have to really go into Power BI every time, but those are more relatable to those channels. So that is a great feature, that you can pin reports. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm asking all these questions because I'm at the 100 level of Power Platform. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically I have so many questions because when I read
Right.
through it, there were so many different things which came
Yes.
in,
Yes.
and also the Power Apps going as pay as you use
Yes.
is
Yes.
one of the areas where
Right.
people can make use of it.
Right.
And the other thing which I really saw as a very interesting one, maybe Amrish, you might like it as well, because uh, and they have introduced the custom model into the AI builders. Basically, there is a AI builder in Power Platform where previously we were using the models which were
Right.
pre-built,
Right.
but now you can build a custom models. Basically,
Nice.
you can make use of Azure machine learning and
Yeah.
build those models and bring it into the Power Platform, which is exciting as well. So that's something. So while we are discussing this, I just want to bring in Dinesh here.
Yeah.
Dinesh, while we are discussing about Power Platform, I just want to check with you on one of the specific area where we did open source the Microsoft Power FX as a low-code programming language, right? So uh, pretty interesting question here. I mean, I saw a couple of tweets around it. Why does a low-code platform need a language, right? So, can you just give your perspective on that as well?
Yes, yes, Vivek. So, yeah, before that, the low-code programming language which Vivek was telling us, it is a general-purpose programming language which is based on spreadsheets like formulas, which most of the data scientists were excited to have access of that. Yeah, coming to your question, um, it all not all the purposes can be solved with point-and-click tools alone. Perhaps point and click tools are great for quickly assembling your experiences and workflows, but many real world solutions or the edge level solutions always need a additional flavor or additional layer of logic that goes beyond what is practical to do with drag and drop always. For example, you would have completed everything, the actual core requirement, but finally your CEO or a person at the stakeholder level would be asking a very small requirement, a very small additional requirement, like show the list of customers who signed up in the last 7 days within 15 miles of this particular location, so that the customer success team or the sales team would be benefited and they can use the tool better. Like this, they might ask you for a very specific logical thing, and to achieve those specific logical thing, this Microsoft PowerX is a very great help. And again, this is not another new programming language. It is built on top of the spreadsheet kind of language. So it is very simple to adopt, especially for the citizen developers.
Cool. So, from specifically on data part of Dinesh, because you are the data platform specialist, right? So, I just want to understand what were your amazing top three announcements happened on Azure data platform, and what were your thoughts around it?
Okay. So the top announcements and even the top features which Azure focuses and which customers also demand is towards the data analytics and the governance perspective. When it comes to the analytics, there comes Azure Synapse Analytics, and when it comes to governance, there comes the Azure Purview. And not just these two, the very tight integration between these two services as well, how well it is connected and how well all sorts of people who are involved in the data journey. I mean, from the person who does the ETL, and from the person who stores the data, and from the person who writes the SQL code, and from the person who creates the visuals for the stakeholders to take decisions. For all these people, they Azure Synapse acts as a primary tool and a single tool for them. And there are a lot of exciting features around this Azure Synapse. And by the way, many features has been released in Purview as well.
Just to understand, I read about Azure Synapses pathway. There was some accelerating and migrations related announcements happened for Synapses. Is Can you just give us some use case there, some insights on that?
Sure. So Azure Synapse Analytics, as most of you know, it is the rebranded one of Azure SQL Data Warehouse. So typically, the storage and the computation part is the warehousing part. So to get the benefits of Azure Synapse Analytics, one need to migrate to Azure Synapse Analytics, right? Because there are already many cloud data warehouses are there, and on-premise data warehouses like Teradata, Vertica, all these things are there. So from those data warehouses, they need to migrate into Azure Synapse, and that is not a simple thing itself, because while we choose a data warehouse itself, we do a lot of investigations. While we migrate it, there comes the another problem, which is nothing but the not just the data being moved from one place to, I mean, one warehouse to another. The another thing is, already the production data warehouse is serving a lot of customers. That is, that the warehouse would have been connected with a set of BI tools, and those BI tools would be serving a set of people, and for those BI tools, a specific set of queries would be running, right? Migrating those queries, for example, let's consider the old the older, I mean, the previous cloud data warehouse is Snowflake, and they want to move to Azure Synapse Analytics. A very heavy headache or a very heavy budget for the migration involves in the SQL code transformation as well, from the SnowSQL to Azure Synapse SQL. It is not it could be an easy while we are telling, but for a production system, it is not so easy. For that purpose, Azure has launched this Azure Synapse Pathway as an open source, as a free tool to translate those critical SQL code, where customers have to either manually rewrite or invest large amount of their budget to convert that code. So actually, Synapse Pathway translates the DDL, that is data definition language codes, and DML, data manipulation language codes, into T-SQL compliant language, which can be compatible with Azure Synapse SQL. So the migration would be smoother. That is the one word.
So that is what has been announced, right?
Yeah.
The pathway to integrate the free tool which was there, and how people can use it to convert their language, the DDL language, to the Synapses understandable code. That's the announcement. And one last question to you from a data perspective is, I know there is manage instances, which is already always there, but how does Apache Cassandra cluster will help the businesses in terms of managed clusters?
Okay. So actually, in the Signate, they have announced managed instance for Apache Cassandra cluster. So there are already a lot of solutions. You can deploy a Cassandra cluster in the on-premise, or you can deploy a Cassandra cluster in the cloud. That could be. Azure has also came into in their perspective, so that it helps a lot for the Azure community people, and also those who want to create a cluster in the cloud, a managed instance of Apache cluster. Based on current needs, Azure has designed it. That's what I could say. Uh, Let me tell you a couple of minutes benefits. So when it comes to Apache Cassandra cluster, Cassandra is open source. So the person, the data engineer, need to spend a lot of time in case of scaling of nodes. When there is a huge requirements that comes in, he need to scale up the nodes, and when there is lesser nodes, he need to scale down the nodes. So that scaling of nodes has been simplified so much, so that the data engineer's work would be very easy to scale up and scale down. That is one thing. And when if you are already having a Apache Cassandra cluster in the on-premise, you can also have a minimalistic or a small scale of small Apache cluster, Cassandra cluster in Azure, and you can link both of them, on-premise Cassandra and the cloud Cassandra cluster, so that your hybrid possible. And when there is a huge load, you need not give so much of attention to increase the resources on-premise. you can simply increase the resources on the cloud that is in Azure, and when your load is get completed, you can simply wipe it off. So that is another benefit. So, and of course, cost effective, because the pricing is based on instance based, and there is no licensing fee for this. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I understand. So basically, if I have on-prem and the cloud, if the data is increasing, and if you're if you want to make use of that, then you use cloud. You increase the resources in the cloud, and you use. I mean, obviously, you reduce the resources when it is not required. That really helps you. That is the advantage of using in the hybrid mode as well, right? So, so one last question to both of you. I know, Priyesh, you have 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
I just want to ask
No, that's
you.
fine. Yeah.
So
You can have a lot of time. Yeah.
yeah, so we have
Yeah.
you know we saw so many announcements,
Yes.
specifically from power platforms and data platforms as well.
Right.
So what, according to you, what next you would be taking up after seeing these announcements? Which area you would be working on is what I wanted to know.
Okay. So, with respect to Power Apps, the next thing that I would really like to try out is having the pay-as-you-go plan, which I can use, because till now, as we are learning more on Power Apps before we implement that for customers, we really spend a lot of time. And with all the trials that we create, you just 1 month passes and then you have to create another trial and so on. And I think most organizations do provide some kind of Azure subscription that comes with their partner network. I don't know if that is true for everyone, but um, if you have Azure subscription that is not being used, you can at least utilize that to run this app, which you don't have to forget every time and go on to create a new one every time, and that is with you. So you can have some Power Apps which serves the purpose of learning and also some kind of automation for yourself as well. And in that process you can always as a architect, as a developer, you can always come up with solutions that you can pitch to the client. And having that control within Azure subscription itself is great. That is something that I always wondered, that I have Azure credits that are not used for some months because I'm not using some virtual machines I had. How do I really use them? And it's all just a reset. So it is a great way that I can now tag it to my Azure subscription and keep a track of it. I'll at least know in this process, I'll know that how much cost is consumed month on month, given the complexity of the Power App. And this also helps us to pitch this to the customers than having them to flat out say, talk about the per app plan or per user plan. So this adds weightage, and it makes Power Apps more enticing to for the customers. That's what I'm really really eager to try out.
So,
Can't wait.
so Dinesh, what about you?
Uh, I think people like architect would know that all the day a system would be having OLTP and OLAP. That is, an application would be having a database to serve the application and another database to serve the analytics portion of it. And it is very hard to uh, migrate the data from OLTP database to OLAP. Like it could be from a MongoDB or a Elasticsearch or whatever it may be, and the OLAP would be SQL Server or a Snowflake or Azure Synapse, like that it could be. What I'm going to try is Azure Synapse has launched a tight, seamless integration between Azure Cosmos DB and Azure Synapse Analytics. So that they have promised to they have promised that the data will be available in near real time without any manual efforts, manual ETL. That is a very exciting thing. And people who implemented it, they know the pain point of that ETL portion. And I'm really excited to try out that part. Azure Synapse Link for Azure Cosmos DB, which converts the row format store of data into column stored data and gets stored into Azure Synapse automatically. Yes, that's the thing.
That's an interesting thing because real time is something which is very difficult to achieve as well. So which is going to be an interesting one. Even probably even I will also be trying it out. Probably we will also do a session at Reactor on that once it's achieved. So thanks Priyesh, thanks Dinesh for joining us,
Thank you.
and it was great insight from the Power Platform and data platform perspective. Um, Now I will move on to the community leaders. Specifically, Niloshma, are you there? If you're there, just come up. And Arvind, uh,
I'm here.
Amrish, Naveen. I know this is going to be a different, because we have a huge number of leaders, 5 leaders joining here, and probably what I'll do is, I'll let all of you to introduce yourself uh, first up, and then we can discuss in depth with respect to your excitement towards the announcements which we did, right? So I'll go with round robin fashion. So I'll go with Niloshima first. So please introduce yourself. I know you are an amazing Azure fan, and an engineering manager at 1MG, and it's an amazing to have you here today. Thank you for joining, but definitely I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Vivek. It's a pleasure, been part of this whole group. So, hello everyone. I'm Niloshima. I'm working as engineering manager at Tata 1MG. Um, I think I've been a Microsoft person since ancient times. So yeah, that was there. I been part of the community from last 6 years now. Been speaking at a couple of conferences, trying to write couple of blogs. I've learned so much from the community, and now I'm sort of in that process to to give back, right? So that's the interesting part. That's why I'm sort of the whole atmosphere is like, okay, you got your chair, now you have to give it back. So that's there. I'm sort of I know that I mean, not being gender biased here, but there are not a lot of women in the community, so sort of trying to build that as well. So that's it for me.
But by the way, folks who have joined, Niloshima drives the Azure Women community, and they have launched the first event as well, which is happening on 20th, right?
Yes.
20th November. So please do join, and encourage them. And if any woman who has joined join the audience, right? Please do join the community, and work with Niloshima to become a speaker as well. So Arvind, you can go next. You've been a buddy, you've been like a security guy, Java guy, Elastic Search. You're known for being an Elastic man. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
First of all, it's really heartwarming for me to be again here at Reactor. Plus, also it's a really great roundtable. I've been hearing about Synapse Analytics, whatever everyone were discussing till now, like about SnowQL, TQL. I mean, these are terms that I keep hearing previously, and then I haven't worked in the recent times, like say last 3 years or so. And it's good that things are still there, and I'm not too old to not being able to recollect and keep things together. So I feel like, okay, this is still there. So thanks for organizing this. I really learned and took some tips. I want to probably go back and see about Power BI. I've seen it long time back. So that's really cool. And I'm Arvind. For folks who have joined late or like might not know, I work as a developer advocate at Elastic, and community is my passion. I'm in this role only because I like community work, and I've been a meetup organizer, and doing a lot of things. Like there is a that I haven't done, right from doing logistics for an event, sending swag to kind of like, preparing presentations for a keynote, or like, writing code for a GitHub project or a blog. So everything is there. So thanks, Vivek, again. That's about me. And then we can talk more. Yeah.
So, thank you and welcome. And Vivek, you can go next. You have been that young upcoming community leader.
Thanks
So,
for
you are in between of highly experienced community leaders now. So that's great. And just go ahead and introduce yourself.
okay. Thanks for inviting me for this roundtable. And hi everyone, I am Vivek. I am from Madurai, Tamil Nadu, and now I am actually working in a startup called Nextm. I work as a data scientist, and my role is kind of like working towards an Azure, setting up all the stuff there and everything. And it's been nearly 1 year working as Vivek said, I have graduated last year and I took up this job. Then it's been nearly 1 year I'm working as a professional. So I'm also handling organizing communities, a lot of communities as well down in South. And I'm organizer at Azure Developer Community in Chennai, Coimbatore, and Madurai. And when it comes to community, actually, I started as attendees in several conferences, as well as in one of the Vivek's session in Microsoft Reactor, and when it was a in-person event back in 2019. So actually, I started to learn along with that. Now I'm actually moving along with the community as a leader and trying to present the things as I learn as I go by. So it's been a good journey so far, and I'm looking forward to take this event forward.
Yes, and I know. By the way, I don't know what all things Vivek work on because his profile looks like he's a data scientist. He is a DevOps. He's ML ops. He keeps pushing the questions to me on sometimes on Kubernetes and sometimes on data science specific, which I'm not really expert in, but it's pretty cool to interact with Vivek. And if you guys, if you all of you have some pretty good questions, definitely go and talk to Vivek. Um, and next up is Amrish. It's kind, it's a honor to have Amrish here today. Because I while Ignite was happening, Amrish was sending me his favorite moments. It was not in this for this call, but he was sending me his exciting moments. Like he was talking about container apps. He was doing cognitive AI he's using, and in fact, specifically container apps. And he even went ahead and built the container apps and pushed the GitHub repo, and next day itself like, I've done this. So it's kind of different kind of introduction to Amrish. But by the way, you know there is one video which is there for Amrish. Basically, he built an amazing beehive related video there. Since we are less on time, I'm going to push that video in the chat. Whenever you find time, just go back and listen to, I mean, just take a look at it. It's pretty interesting video from Amrish. So basically, he has done an amazing app on bees, how to find defective bees. It was built by Microsoft. Microsoft did work with Ambrish on terms of building that video, but it is an interesting one, and it is not listed. By the way, this is the first time we are showcasing that. Nobody has seen it, so this is the first time we are launching it at the Reactor. So definitely an interesting one. So, Amrish, go ahead and introduce yourself. I did most of the introduction, but you do your introduction.
Yes, very generous introduction. Thanks, Vivek, and thanks to everybody for inviting me here. My day job is I work in TCS and I lead the data analytics practice for TCS utilities and the energy trading practice. So, and as Vivek was telling, I have a huge passion for technology as well as business. And the position that I'm in and the people that I work with are very smart. So we try to bring together business needs with technology And that's where this passion comes forward at how we can serve our clients better. So that's about it from my side, and we will have more detailed discussions.
I'm missing one person here. Where is Naveen? I don't see him.
Hi, Vivek, I'm right here.
Okay. No, Naveen, yeah, you are the Kubernetes guy, and we need you. So yeah, definitely. Introduce yourself, Naveen. You've been a young and very energetic person. You know, he does that Azure weekly. I do follow you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Vivek. All right. Hi, everyone. So, as everybody know my name, I'm Naveen, and I come from DevOps background. I have been working in DevOps since the beginning of my career. Now, currently, I'm working as a senior DevOps consultant at Ops3 Solutions, and I like open source contributions. I've been contributing in Azure Terraform modules, and I have a team here, so we keep on building modules for Azure, various components, and we have also recently started a new initiative where we are publishing different Azure architectures, and followed by those architectures, we'll be creating Terraform modules for the entire architecture so that we can have the entire architecture created with a single click. Also, I like writing technical blogs in Azure, so I've written quite a few blogs. And apart from that, I do have my monthly workshops in Azure covering different aspects of different services in Azure. So that's pretty much about me. I'm based out of Gurgaon.
Yeah, I know that, there are a lot of people from Gurgaon who have joined here from community perspective. Thank you for joining in. I just want to start with, Amrish here, right? So Amrish, uh, can you, I know that, you were messaging me with a lot of updates you wanted, right? From chaos engineering, from container apps to Azure Cognitive APIs, and everything was your favorite moments in the Ignite. So top of the mind, top three Ignite moment for you.
Yes, the top three, one was the Azure container apps, which we will talk later. Another is Azure chaos engineering, and another is the Azure OpenAI. I'll talk in detail of why they are so very important for us. So, in my day job, I talk to a lot of utility clients. Utility clients meaning companies who serve for electricity, gas, and water. And if there is any disruption in the services of any of these services, well, we are in jeopardy. So, so there are companies which really need these services, and weather conditions like earthquake, floods, wildfire, very important things they affect. So the systems need to be very quick in responding to those. So that's where I think this chaos engineering thing stuck, because this is real chaos, right? Physical chaos, and how will our systems react to that? So that's where my thing was that, oh wow, this is the thing that we should, when we are building new systems and we are building very large enterprise systems, this is where I think this thing would come into feature. And when you look about it, is that if you think of what is a system, one is compute, one is memory, then there is storage and network. So this chaos engineering stuff, which I didn't try in hands-on, but it hits at all these all these areas. It hits at a CPU, how you stress a CPU, how you stress a memory, how you stress a storage, and how you stress a network. So consider like your front door or a traffic manager gets disrupted. How will it, meaning transfer the traffic to the right area? And do you know what? There are real instances like wildfires in California where companies are in not a great state. So this is a place where I think would be great useful. Another thing, while these are all serious things, if like I am thinking like the Indian income tax, right? That would be a great scenario for people like me who would always shift all these tasks to the last minute, and last minute I'm trying to push in my income tax. That those people would actually create chaos in the systems. Another thing I am considering is the people nowadays. In my times, the results were not published for class 10 online, so thousands and thousands of people hitting the system for results in their board and secondary exams. So this is where I think that would be a great thing to test out this chaos engineering stuff.
So you mean to say, when we talk about chaos engineering, we create the system, and then we purposefully introduce faults in the system, and then we go back and see what happens in the system, and then that's where we get the report. Is that right? What I'm trying to.
Yes, that's a very nice way of putting it. Like we inject fault into the system, as they call it, and where would the fault be? You produce fault in the CPU, you put fault in the memory, you put fault in the storage, you fault put in the network, and this is how I see of how the systems would behave and how good is in from a resilient architecture kind of thing. So that's where I think the power would be. Yes.
So, I mean, there should be obviously a template for this, right? I mean, as a engineer, I would not know all the faults which is possible, right?
Yes.
So is there
Yes.
will be there? Okay, there is a support for that, and what about security here, right? If somebody else is also trying to put faults into it, where we haven't put the fault, from a securities perspective, and they might try and inject those fault into the system, and it shows up as a problem for you, right? And how does that work? Is there any secure way of doing it?
Yes, that's a great question. Uh, Ultimately, the Chaos Studio has experiments, and ultimately, it's an Azure resource. So you will have proper permissions on top of that, and there would be some kind of an action in which that would trigger that experiment. So you will have permission restrictions on that. Moreover, this is system managed identity. So as we do more hands-on, get more dirty into it, we'll get to know more and learn more. But overall, this seems to be the security, very structured security model in which you just can't introduce fault into the system and produce chaos just like that. So Azure prevents it from doing so.
I, I,
So
I mean, I just don't want to stop you.
yes,
Because you are
yes,
you are more interested in showing us the demo of container apps. You can just go ahead and talk about container apps and show us a simple demo of the container apps. I just
yes.
want to. Even I am interested in looking at the demo as well.
Yes, just so for beginners, for people who have not been introduced to container apps, I found it that it is like simplified Kubernetes, and it's very easy, and there is good documentation till now, more or less documentation in docs.microsoft.com. So I went ahead and pushed a deep learning model image into container apps. So I have done it myself right now. Let me just show you, share the screen. And so here's where is my container app? So this is the container app that is there, which is which I have deployed. The all the instructions of creating this container app is in this GitHub, which I will also share. So it is absolutely, it's a monolithic app till now. It's here. So what it is doing is that it's a very simple thing. It's a deep learning image in which what we are doing is predicting the quality of of red wine. So it's a Streamlit app. It's taking its time to do it. So so here you can predict the wine quality given the features. You just show it. It's just like as any other app. So, but the good thing is it is doing it while it does it. So it does it. So here's a container app. This is like a serverless. You can say it is serverless Kubernetes. And the good thing is that there is ingress out here, and then there is, you can do revision management. And this is my app out here. If you see, if you go to this image, you will see that it has got, you can add scale to it. It has got Dapper integration. All these things are there. And while we are here, what we can do is just play around a little bit. You can create a new revision. So let's create a new revision. So you can create a new revision. You can go here. You can just change this one. You can see that here you can change the CPU core here. So very easy. Once you deploy it, you can change it to 2 cores. You can change the memory to 4 gigs. You can save it. Then you can scale the app. Here, the scaling the app, you can add a scale rule. I'm feeling like I'm doing an app service, Vivek. This scaling of apps is just like app service. I can add an HTTP
Sorry.
scaling. I can add a rule. I can add the number of concurrent requests, maybe
It's pretty.
9 add. So very nice. It's a min max thing is there. And then I can do Dapper. So Dapper I have not done, but it seems it's a very cool thing. And to tell you that Dapper is something that helps for microservices to run very easily. So so that's one. It has got integration with Dapper. So I think this is a huge benefit for people who are developing microservices and deploying into Kubernetes without having to have the burden of knowing Kubernetes. So it comes so very easily to you. So that's a great thing. So I can say that this is like serverless Kubernetes for me. So
Yes, I mean that's a interesting one. If you can share that GitHub repo in the chat for this,
yes, yes, yes.
that will help.
Unfortunately, I do not know. Maybe I'm not having access to the chat.
You can share it to me, and I
Okay,
can
okay,
try
okay,
and share
okay,
it with
okay,
you.
okay. We'll share
So
it.
while we are in the demo mode, I
Uh-huh.
will bring Vivek Raja here because uh, Vivek Raja, when I spoke to him about the Ignite, and he said, I'm working on DevOps workflow generator, and pretty interesting one as well. And he just mentioned that he's working on it already. So so Vivek, even before you go and drive the conversations with respect to DevOps workflow generator, if you can just talk about what is a DevOps workflow, and then why it is very essential to have a visualization of that even before you set up all these workflow, right? And it's a pretty interesting one. And then obviously we can deep dive into the demo which you have planned as well.
Yeah, perfect. So the main reason why I took interest in DevOps is like, meanwhile, my startup is also currently working and setting up good DevOps practices and stuff. So I'm also taking care of that stuff. So naturally, I started to look for resources to learn for it. So Ignite was a very good place to start with, and the one thing which caught my eye was the DevOps workflow generator, as he mentioned. So if you take DevOps, so there is like a series of action and tasks which takes place sequentially in a very large development life cycle. For example, you start with requirement collection, then you plan your tasks, then you go ahead and build the your codings, then you test it, you deploy, you make some releases and go on. So this is how a typical development life cycle looks. But if you just go to any DevOps board, or even in Azure DevOps, it's like there are provisions for you to maintain pipelines, maintain boards, maintain repos, but there is no big picture which is involved in it. Like if you want to see the entire flow of what is really happening in our development life cycle, there is not feature. But luckily, like, and Microsoft jumped in and provided this amazing feature where you can visualize the entire workflow which is taking place in your DevOps lifecycle, so that you can have a big picture in a single dashboard. So that's one of the amazing thing. And coming to a second question, like what's really important for us to have that? So if you just take a step back and look at any big picture, that obviously helps you to understand some flaws and in few particular places. For example, if you're moving from your development to testing, so you might find that there is no particular pipelines which is established properly for that, or you might find a place to optimize your development workflow in a better way. So these kind of visualization helps us to understand and work along with the developers to make sure that we can have the development in a full force to optimize it and increase the productivity in total. So that's how workflow generator works in Azure as well.
You want to show us the demo of it?
Sure. I will just share my screen. 1 second. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. To work with your DevOps workflow generator, like just you have to hop onto this DevOps workflow generator or research.microsoft.com. I'll drop this URL in the chat after that. So what it comes is like you can just reorder your stages in your development. For example, for now I have just kept these 8 stages in my development cycle, which involves planning, coding, building, testing, securing, DevOps, then deploying, releasing, and monitoring. So you can just go ahead and even add your existing your stages if you want to. That's up to you. Then you can go ahead and work ahead for the tools what you have to work. So for example, like if I want to plan my work, so naturally I connect with my team over Microsoft Azure Teams or in Discord to have a meeting or something like that. Then I can put up the task in my Azure boards. I can use Excel to monitor the Gantt chart of how my project will look and everything. So that's how we can pick out the tools for each and every stages you want to work with. So you can go ahead and select your app library and introduce like your favorite tools into your particular stages. So I have done that for few particular things. So depending on my work, so I have also added JavaScript, Node, Python, Power BI, TensorFlow, as it also involves machine learning in my project. So likewise, we can add specific tools for each and every stages. Once you're actually done and satisfied with each and every stage, like from the app library, you can just pull it in. Then it also allows us to just create a PDF, like a report, what you're actually planning to do. For example, like my startup is more inclined to healthcare. So once I download my PDF, it just generates a PDF. And if you take a look at it, so it's like a summary report of how your DevOps will look like. So my plan stage has around 12 tools involved in it. My coding has 16 tools involved in it, and so on. And this is how they have actually neatly organized what a stage looks like and what are the tools I'm using in each stage. So as it goes and build, securing, and deploying, then releasing and monitoring as well. So this is how you can easily take up a big picture of your DevOps life cycle, and I have already started using that in my work as well. So that is actually pretty cool how we want to get started with DevOps as well.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks, Vivek. This is amazing. Even I was trying out some of the things, and it shows up all kinds of tool sets which you are going to use it in your workflow, which is great. And I just want to bring in Nilushima here. Hey Nilushima, what caught your mind, in any Ignite announcements? Um,
So there are a lot of interesting things. It was genuinely tough to choose, but I think we are sort of, I mean, the live project which I am working as of now with my organization, we are sort of leveraging, Azure service bus with the event grids. So that part, where the premium tier came into the picture, the large message support. That's one thing. Another thing is, I guess. So in my previous organization, we were sort of working on the theft tracking system where you need to interact with, WebSocket, actual devices, and they sending their data in real time. So Azure Web pops up it was a blessing in this. It is a blessing in disguise. Had we, we had that feature earlier, the job would have been so easy. Now I'm sort of, just rethinking of the whole architecture. I'm like, I can do, real time targeted data, cross platform, live interaction, broadcasting, uh, push app notifications. There are so much which you can sort of achieve with, when these web pops up came into the picture, especially when integrated to IoT. So that was there.
That's great. So, I mean, while having a chat with you, and probably 2 to 3 days back, you did mention about claim check pattern technique, which you were using. For the benefit of the audience, if you can explain that claim check pattern technique, and how the support for large data set, data files to be transferred through these buses is going to change that technique itself, or it going to help you from the business perspective. If you can throw some light there.
Of course, of course. So let's just try and understand the context of this whole claim check paradigm. So whenever we are into some message based architecture, we would want to send messages, receive them, manipulate the messages, and those messages, they may contain, that could be an image, that could be a video file, some text document, or maybe some other file, some binary data, right? So that's where, uh, when you are sort of sending these messages to the service bus directly, that was not sort of recommended, because it requires, more resources, more bandwidth, right? Now, these sort of large messages, they can slow down your entire performance of your application. So you have to fine tune it to handle the huge quantity of, small messages. That's where the claim check, come into the picture. You are splitting a large message into a claim check and a payload, and you are sort of sending that claim check to the messaging platform to store that payload in an external service. So in a real-time use case where I was sort of, I have worked leverage claim check, was that multiple mobile applications, they were sort of sending us the data. Now that sending was, the data was basically very huge, and you cannot just directly transmit the data. That's where we have leverage claim check. You have, the messages were protected, and the client was not, overwhelmed by, by the bandwidth. So what we did, we basically got that, that chunk of the messages, stored it in a blob, attached a claim, and mentioned the payload, where the, the location of that particular message on the blob storage, and then pass it as a message on the queue. And that's where the beauty came into the picture. Now the backend APIs, they were sort of, they know where is the reference. So it's basically a reference based messaging, and the backend client was sort of aware that, okay, I need, my data is placed here, this is the claim for that. So if I have that claim, I can go fetch that data, add it into my, whatever functionality, whatever feature that particular API is supposed to do. uh, you do that, and then you, finally process that data. Now the interesting part which came into the picture, while we are discussing this whole Azure Service Bus premium, premium tier, that the size of the message was very small. It was, I guess, 256 kbs. Now it can be, when in the premium tier, it starts with, 1 MB, and you can easily navigate it to, to change. You can change even the size of that particular messages, 200 MBs, and that's where this whole paradigm becomes more interesting.
Do I need to change any code to support this, or how do I do that?
It's basically just just a piece of setting. I think it is called as max messages size. So you just update that setting and you're good to go. So it's as easy as I mean, anyone can do it. So you just
Thanks, Shuma. I think that's a interesting one as well, because that's going to be a very good use cases when it comes to pushing the large file systems, the PDFs and other things which we usually share it with people, especially in healthcare industries and other things, which is a very interesting one. And I know you are part of the healthcare industry, and it does require all these kind of new things to be added into our tools. Thanks for the insight, Nilishma. And I just want to bring in Arvind here. Arvind, what's your take on the announcements? You are a partner to us from an Elastic perspective. So how does the announcement look for you, and what were those areas where it caught your interest?
So to be really frank, I see a lot of stability in place, like in a way that there are a lot of things that got GA'd. There are a lot of announcements which are upgrades that doesn't look like okay, this is a new thing kind of a thing, but actually they have a lot of impact for enterprise customers. I'm not talking from obviously Elastic is a developer company, open source, that this and all is there, but then in general, like a lot of enterprises like financial companies and all, they use technology which they can't really they can't suddenly start using Kubernetes, or like they have some sort of engagements, they have some sort of code that is still there in Java 6, or some sort of a different version altogether that we were living right now, like Java 17 is here at least. So I feel that from that point of view, there is a lot of information. To be really honest, like really like the book of news. I keep reading this book of news. You all can also find, I think, for the folks who are not knowing book of news, like there is book of news for also build and several other announcements as well, so that you could go always and figure out what service you are interested in, and it is very crisp and clear. I'm very interested in this, the DevOps announcements and Java announcements, and then I think OpenShift as well, the web server announcements, which are really good. And then the security side announcements were also really nice, about Sentinel and all, about user behavior analytics. A lot of things that are very, very appropriate, that could help a lot of enterprise customers in a way.
Yeah, I mean, Java caught my mind while you were talking about it. So, from a Java perspective, we did announce the container apps support for J2E, right? So, from that perspective, how does it help? Businesses. You interact with a lot of startups, you interact with a lot of businesses, especially who use Java, and of course Elastic as well with that. How does it all fits together, and how does it also support Elastic as a tool for the businesses with this kind of an announcement?
Yeah, so I'll take a step back, and I just today, I think few hours back, I read a Reddit thread on in Kubernetes Reddit handle, and then someone was asking about, what are the problems that you face while deploying a Kubernetes cluster? What sort of learning curve that you face? Just tell everything, that's the thread about. And then people started pouring in their own thoughts, we have to maintain a DevOps team from to like something that I don't know how to manage a cluster, etc. So, and then there are some people like, our company is using so much legacy technology, and then we could never think of something like Kubernetes, or even if I run, it's only for new projects. So what happened, it occurred to me, like a service like container apps, it's very easy for the developer as well as the DevOps engineer to probably take the pipeline till the push the registry to a container registry, and from there it is quite easy to build a microservice or a proper app, and without even really knowing the Kubernetes cluster itself, all the API server. There is no need to run a kubectl command, right? So, and you will also get integrated definitely with all the, be it partner services or Azure Monitor, App Insights. There are so many things, right? You could always do that. So that is something that I feel that is great, that's happening. And being in the J2EE space, like I think that's also like very easy. If someone is having a container, they could easily bring in this containers via the pipeline. I'm still saying pipeline and pipeline, but then like a lot many startups, except if you remove some startups, not other enterprise companies still not have a working CI/CD pipeline or something like that as well. So it's a easy way to the benchmark has been lowered down, still lower down, and people can further use the app. So that's what I'm thinking. It is great in that way as well.
Fantastic. I mean, obviously, working towards all these, support for JWE, that's something which I'm also looking forward, because it's very interesting from a business perspective as well. You can move, and you can also use OpenShift and other things as well
Yeah.
with this. And that's something which is great. And thanks, Arvind. I'll just because of the time, I'm also moving this to Naveen, because Naveen had specific interest in talking about the skill set we had, Azure virtual machine skill set. Before you go in deep dive with that, Naveen, can you just let the audience know what is skill set, so that people can understand the use case of the skill set, and then there were a couple of flexible mode which was introduced in the announcements which we did. If you can give us some kind of use cases and other things towards these skill sets, it will really help us.
Absolutely, Vivek. Thank you. So, yes, starting off with scale sets, I believe most of us are aware about virtual machines, right? Or a server, for instance. So, if we are talking about a real life scenario or production grade deployment. So, I cannot have a bunch of individual servers and manage them at the same time, because it becomes pretty chaotic managing 20 or 30 servers at the same time. So that's where scale sets comes to the picture for our rescue. So what scale set help us to do is it gives us that elasticity that is required in our production grade environment. Because if I'm having virtual machines or I'm having physical servers, I will definitely be getting increased amount of loads as my application progresses. But there are times when the traffic rate is not as high as it used to be. So in that scenario, the additional load that I'm having is a wasted effort from my part. So that is what virtual machine skill set covers for us. So based on our requirement, based on our scenarios and our matrices, we can very well design our skill set infrastructure so that it can scale up whenever it's needed or whenever my application requires it, and it can also scale down so that it's lighter on my pocket as well. So I am taking care of my budget as well as my performance in the same time. So this is the best part about skill sets. And now talking about the flexible orchestration that has been introduced. So the best part that we get in flexible orchestration for skill sets is that we can now have a mix and match of different virtual machine types in our skill set. So earlier how skill set used to function is, if I'm having a Linux based virtual machine skill set, so all my VMs inside it will be of Linux only. If I want a different scale set type, I want some Windows virtual machines also. So for that, I have to spin up a new skill set altogether. This feature is opening up a lot of opportunities, because I usually have a mix and match of applications. I will be having some applications that are .NET centric, so they require a Windows platform for smooth functioning. I have Java, I can run on Linux very well. So for a mix and match of this sort, a skill set which provides us the capability of having different virtual machine types which we can leverage is really a great thing. And it's not long that this virtual machine skill set, the flexible orchestration, will be introduced in EKS as well. And as soon as it is introduced in EKS landscape, it is going to skyrocket really soon, because when a lot of organizations, as we were discussing earlier also, a lot of organizations now are moving into microservice based architecture, and there we do require workloads that can handle different type of architectures. And there, if I can introduce a different OS in my same node pool along with spot instances, so that is just like icing on the top. So I can have a better performance and a cost optimized setup for my entire environment. So this pretty much sums up my interest in skill set, especially the flexible orchestration that has been introduced.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a very interesting point you made, right? Having different OSs as part of your skill set which you have created, and that opens up a lot of opportunities, specifically from healthcare industry, from different industry where you would use different set of OSs for various things. That's where the power comes in. So, by the way, thanks, Arvind, Naveen, Ambrish, Niloshima, for joining in. Vivek, Raja, thanks for joining in. A lot of insights. We did talk about a lot of things here, and I would definitely move to the students, which is an exciting part of the session as well. So I would request, Aditya and Vedant and where is she? Simran is here. Perfect. So all three of you here, great. I would let you people to introduce yourself. One person is more of a Dory. He's known for his, finding his Dory everywhere, and the other person is known for his, conversations, the Twitter Spaces he does in the night, like 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. or something. You keep talking, Aditya. What is it called? Random conversations, right? It's called random
Random
conversations.
community.
Okay. And he purposefully invites me to that. I don't know why. He purposefully invites me to that at 1 a.m. So, anyways, just go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll get started after that. Go ahead, Aditya. You can start with that.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Vivek. And yeah, just saying, we call you at 11, 12, 1 because we love having you there. It's just fun. So, yes, hi everyone. Um, Before I get to my introduction, a huge shout out to all the amazing speakers and panelists who were here earlier. I think I loved the conversations. There was some tech I've been interested in. I loved the insights we had. So a huge shout out to all of you on that. I'm Aditya Obra. I'm currently a Gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador here. I've been with the program for the last a little over a couple of years now. It's where I started my community journey from. I've been having a lot of fun here with a few different Microsoft tech. I think my favorite would be .NET. I've played a lot with .NET, Xamarin. Looking forward to Maui now, and yeah, along with that, I'm also currently doing developer relations for AppWrite, which is an open source backend as a service. So I'm just having fun with communities, playing around with different tech, and really happy to be here with all of you.
Maybe I'll go next. Hi, I'm Vedant, and thank you for that introduction, Vivek. I'm the Dory person. So Dory is my fish, and I do cognitive services and machine learning to find Dory. That's another story. But yeah, I'm a Gold Student Ambassador. Apart from that, I do research. I'm a research assistant with University of Alberta and University of Pennsylvania. We work on applied machine learning and data-driven solutions for transforming education. We work with Khan Academy and stuff over there. Apart from that, I left community, and that's why I'm here. And attending this session, like the discussion that was going on earlier, that got me interested into almost every tech that Ignite showcase. And now I'm very much confused what to consider for future. But yeah, that's pretty much about me.
I can totally agree on that there, that, all this conversation, and as students, I guess we tend to be more attracted towards anything and everything anyway. So now I want to just explore everything. But before that, I am Simran Makis. I am a Gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and with Microsoft Tech, I've mostly worked with Azure App Services and the SQL database servers, and the ease with which app services and all the other services work is amazing. I mean, it's made my college projects much easier personally. And apart from that, I interned with Goldman Sachs last summer and have been exploring Initially, I've worked more with front-end web development and have been exploring the DevOps space recently.
Thank you for the introductions and welcome to
Thank
the
you for having us.
roundtable. Right. So I'll start with Aditya for sure because he keeps bugging me. So I mean I'm just joking. Okay. So I know that you are a Twilio guy as well. You love doing those messaging and other stuff. When I was reading through the Azure Communication Service, something caught my mind. Something related to short codes. And I just wanted to check with you today. What is that short codes? What are those use cases for those short codes, and how this will the launch which we made with respect to the short codes? How does it will help you build things from there?
Definitely. So yes, I am definitely a Twilio person. I'm a part of their MVP program, and I do absolutely love working with different communications as a service platforms. So Azure Communication Service is definitely something that's been on my mind for a while, and I've actually really excited by the announcements we had this Ignite around communication service, because I think the first one that you just mentioned here with short codes, that's gonna be really beneficial on a business perspective. So when we talk about short codes, I think probably the best example here to talk about would be we all get notifications on SMS on our phones, right? But not all of them are typical 10-digit long numbers. Some of these are shorter 5-6 digit numbers that we get them from. So those are actually short codes. The big advantage of short codes is that these are pre-approved by carriers for mass messaging. So they're typically used only for SMS or MMS communication. They're pre-approved for mass messaging. And another advantage that they tend to have is that with longer numbers, typically what you would see is a rate of one message being sent per second. Short codes, I think, allow, from what I read, about 40 per second. So when we're talking about mass messaging, it's a big advantage, which can be a huge use case for organizations, because you could leverage these for notification. You could use these for solutions like, if you have your own custom OTP solution running, that's where these become a big help. So the support of short codes on any communications platform is definitely a huge advantage, and that's going to be really important as communication services more and more adoption from more organizations. Because I know that there's been quite a little work on it recently. I just checked. I think they now support about 4 different SDKs. I'm so happy they finally have something more C#. It initially started with just JavaScript, which again, great. So as that service grows, having support for shortcodes is going to be a huge advantage.
That's great. That's great. So you talked about Azure Communication Service, and I know that you are a man with Imagine Cup as well. And if I have to combine both, like what kind of products and what kind of prototypes can be built using these Azure Communication Services?
Yeah. So I think with Azure Communication Service, of course, we've got support for SDK for messaging. Voice is going to be there, which are great. We use those in I use those in a lot of my hacks, those sort of tech, because we need those to send notification, any form of data communication. Typically, if we can send on the phone, it could be a little easier for a lot more people to access. Those who cannot access email perpetually, SMS becomes a convenient factor, especially for your typical non-smartphone users, particularly. At the same time, voice calling, of course, is a great little way to again connect with folks. And then these are, of course, communication that you can automate, right? There's a lot of automations you can add on that front. So it removes a lot of manual work for any product, which does give a benefit for hackers, for hobbyists. I think one of the most exciting announcements, though, at least for anyone trying to go on to create a larger product, which could be something that helps if you're creating a product for Imagine Cup and all as well, is that finally we have Teams interoperability with communication service. communication service. I think that's something I'm so excited about because uh, you can literally communicate with anyone on a Teams call without actually being on Teams using communication service, which could have such huge advantages on a support front. You can have chat communication, you could have video communication. Both of those are options. So you could literally go ahead, go on to do something like integrate Louis bots and use the same chat and connect it with a dedicated person on Teams and continue communication, set up consultancies, which was a similar example I think was showcased in the demos at Ignite. But it's a really cool potential scenario that you can have, right? And I think
Exactly.
something even cooler is that with communication service with Teams Interop, you don't necessarily need to have Active Directory for the person, for the consumer. If you have, sure, that's cool. But it can actually, with your own authentication, you can actually be logged in as an anonymous user, like on web apps. So, yeah, I think it opens up so many newer ways by which developers, product owners can communicate with your users and consumers. It's gonna help a lot with people who are starting off with um, their own products, with their own startups, and that works well with Imagine Cup because we're trying to architect those solutions in ways that could scale out in the real world. So having these tech there to support our solutions helps a lot.
Yeah, and by the way, the UI templates as well. I mean, probably I'm also looking at like how we can use those UI templates so that you have the templates, you can
Yeah.
build the automation around it, and there is it can be integrated with any of those login systems, right? Any login system, or
Absolutely.
even it can be an anonymous as well. That's great to see. So I'll come to with Dory person, right? Vedant. You are an AI guy, and I just want to talk to you about OpenAI, and
Yes.
before I go in with OpenAI, can you let us all know what is GPT-3 model? And by the way, I'm at the 100 level in AI and other things. So, you should go to that my level and explain it to us, the GTP3 model. Just go ahead and let us know.
So OpenAI, as a California-based company, launched GPT-3 API last year in June 2020. And what it does is simply text generation and understanding. So NLP-based model, which does all kind of NLP tasks, but much more powerful, advanced, because it is trained on 45 trillion bytes of data. And that's incredible. I mean, if I even think about it, it's mind blowing. At the same time, it is my laptop blowing because my laptop cannot process that much of data, and that's the reason why it is so powerful, and it does all kind of such tasks. And a lot of companies, enterprises have been using GPT-3 API since then, and for content creation, for marketing, for variety of tasks. And that's something it does. And the end goal for it is artificial general intelligence, which should pass the Turing test. So I mean, if someone has that much of goals, you can imagine how powerful the product should be. And it is indeed that powerful.
So can you just give us a couple of product examples of that, like what we can build using that?
So as I said, it's more related to text generation and text understanding, like natural language generation and natural language understanding, which closely is what NLP is. It's about machine perception, natural language generation, classification, text analytics, and all that. And it does all kind of tasks, but much more advanced and powerful way, much more effective. Many companies are using it. For example, Duolingo does use that for understanding the French language. Like maybe people know about Duolingo, which is one of the language learning app, and they use it for grammar correction and in variety of foreign languages. Similarly, IBM is using it for like for their marketing text generation. Every company needs a lot of text which is generated for their marketing task, and it's hefty, right? So GPT-3, what it does is based on what they start typing and based on their past marketing techniques, it generates the text for them, which is much more effective, engaging, and tailored to the requirements of the company.
Got it. So from an enterprise perspective, if I have to put, if enterprise have to use open AIs on Azure, they would have security, compliance, scale options, and also I read about responsible AI as part of that. It's basically it automatically takes in those responsible AI related activities there and make sure while you're building OpenAI services, it makes sure that responsible AI is taken care. That's the power of the launch which we have made. I know that if Amrish is here, I'm not sure Amrish is here. Amrish, you are there in the call?
Yes, yes, I am very much there. I'm
Yeah,
listening to the
if
wonderful
Amrish,
conversations.
yeah, Amrish wanted to have 2 minutes of conversation on Azure OpenAI. Here you go. You got the stage.
Nothing much, meaning I am absolutely fascinated because of this OpenAI. They have these models trained with trillions and trillions of parameters. That's what I gathered. So I'm imagining the accuracy and the efficiency of these models, and we can apply these to real world problems like recommendation engines and all these sort of things that we are having not so great accuracies. So it's an amazing thing. We're just lifting the game of all these systems to such a high degree, and I'm feeling which business application should I use it so as to make it much more wonderful, and somebody would say, "Oh, awesome!" So that's the
I
thing.
think we are using it in GitHub
Uh,
Copilot.
Oh my
Uh,
yes,
God,
that's what I wanted to
that's
add. Like
yep.
yes, yes.
the another pillar of GPT-3 is Codex, and Codex is the backend of what GitHub Copilot does. So while I was reading about all this today morning, I got to know that I discovered that I already have access to GitHub Copilot, and I tested it out, and that is incredible, like tremendous. If we have time, I can even show it now. It takes like a few seconds if Vivek permits.
It's already 8:30.
Oh,
Just give us 5 more minutes, and then we can stop the recording, and we can still continue to discuss. We all have time. One interesting thing about Copilot was I was doing a demo last week, and I was doing something live, and it started showing me code, and I accidentally pressed the tab, and the code came up, which I did not need it. Sometimes I need to. I was just doing a different kind of a code, but it just wrote me a code which was there. So it's interesting. By the way, it accurately picked the Spring Boot code, and it showed up as a proper messaging which was being captured through various code somebody was building as well. So it is interesting. So I'll come to Simran. Simran, specifically, you talked about Azure Container Apps, and I wanted to know from you is how you plan to use it in your college projects, or even in building it in Imagine Cup, if you are taking part in an Imagine Cup, how you plan to use it. Amrish showcased or did a demo on that. It looks very simple, right? For people to build it, but what could be those kind of products you would love to build on top of that?
So the demo was it's almost like building with the app service. It's barely any different. It's that easy. The only thing I think we're missing is a VS Code extension, and it'd be just that easy. So I have a lot of the times we're asked for working code or working projects, and then it's very difficult to actually wrap that up and give it to our colleges, specifically when they don't want GitHub repos, they want you to give the file. files, and they're very well, they're not very accepting is what I should say. They're very set in their ways, and online is very difficult for them too. So this really makes it easier to work with that kind of a thing where since I do have an elective for web technologies, and I'd be working with Spring applications and all of that. Now wrapping all of that into one small zip file and throwing it onto Google Classroom is very difficult for me. But with something like container apps, I could build an image and submit it, and it is very easy to giving in an executable would be very easy for my faculty as well if I provide a few steps, and hopefully they read them and they can run the application. So it really simplifies the process of submitting projects on the school front for me, as well as in various hackathons where you're supposed to give a demo or all of that. It makes it very easy. It makes it very portable for larger applications as well, where certain times with Flask, we would face issues with the app service and would have to use a VM like we did with Imagine Cup actually. Last year for Imagine Cup, we had to host our Python code on a separate VM and have different functions. So this would really simplify that entire process for me. So Imagine Cup is not in the plan for this year, but me and Aditya, we were on the same team last year. So it was a fun experience, and it is something I would encourage everybody to like. If we have future everybody must participate.
We will have a different session for that, specifically for Imagine Cup.
For Imagine Cup, yeah.
Yeah. So when you talk about the container app service, right? How can you think about dynamically scaling it? I'm just thinking if you are building something, and from a college perspective also, if you build something, how do you plan to scale it dynamically? What are the options you have with container apps specifically to scale it dynamically?
So I think just before this, it was discussed about the various scaling options and how easy it is to dynamically scale, and it is. From a college perspective, again, we have to be as student partners. We do have some credits, or as students, we get say $100 credits. So frugality is really an important part of working with Azure credits. What I really like about container apps on that is that we have a free tier if we're just experimenting around on that, and if we wish to scale, expose it to a number of users, it can be dynamically scaled by setting very simple properties and triggers as is available for usual Kubernetes services. So, from an experimentation and college project perspective, I really like the fact that um, it helps you work with a scale as we go, and as as it is triggered. Triggered scaling is a part of it. So, as our user base grows, it would dynamically scale itself and save us a lot of time and everything as was discussed earlier again. So, yes, it was
Perfect,
that.
perfect. So, I will let a couple of audience to as well to ask questions. While we all are here, there is Amrish, there is, I'm sure, even the Arvind is here, and rest of the team is here. So, if anyone has questions, who is an audience, please do ask questions. Maybe we can, Rashmita, you can give them the access to unmute and ask questions to us, or anybody who's in the panel as well. You might have questions. There are amazing set of people as well. There is Dinesh. I can see Dinesh, Arvind, Amrish, Niloshima. Everybody is here. So if anyone has questions to each one of us as well, you can also ask questions. It's not restricted to only for the attendees. I'm sure Vivek has a question. No?
No question, but actually I was quite interested about students speaking about Imagine Cup. So that's a great place for hackathon to build amazing product stuff, which I didn't actually never participated in, but it was good to hear about. And you guys are doing great on that.
It's always a really fun experience to hack. And with the kind of resources you get at Imagine Cup, it is an opportunity that I am at least very glad I took when I had the time.
It's
I
quite the
actually am not.
experience.
It is. It is. Oh. But as Vivek said, I think we'll have a separate
Yeah.
session for that, where we're telling people about our experience and encouraging. I encourage everybody I meet to participate, really.
Fantastic.
I do. From the initial conversation, actually, the entire prospect of Power Platforms and Power BI was very interesting. So, from a student perspective, the question I would have would be a very elementary one. But when we look at something like Power Platforms and all of this, these are no code solutions. And in college, a lot of us are encouraged to focus on things with full code and all of that. So, like with
Mhm.
coding and all of that, we barely have any exposure to no code solutions and everything. So, from since there were people talking about Power Apps and the Platform and how they use it in their day to day, how would you encourage students to start exploring that avenue? Because we have very little motivation or guidance at times along that. So that is something I've always been curious about.
So I will let Priyesh and Dinesh to take this question, but maybe Priyesh, you can
Sure.
go first, and then Dinesh.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for firstly showing the inclination towards Power Platform, because I think that is Power Platform is something that is less talked about in the student community. I don't know really, but what I could sense that, of course, you're right that students are encouraged first to get into a lot of technical coding, mumbo jumbo thing, and then as you grow in organizations, you're expected to adopt low code solutions quicker. So the motivation for this is, the reason Power Platform is being adopted is because of the cost factor. As organizations grow, they are always looking to cut down cost to implement huge, large scale systems. Um, and organizations, by that I mean growing organizations whose requirements are really simple, small and medium business, um, uh, domain ones. So they're looking to adopt, or they're looking to get basic processes in place, which they have been today doing just based on Excel or paperwork. There are many emerging organizations in the industry which are working just off of Excel sheets. They're just working off of paper. Most of them don't even have a sophisticated system in place. For them, instead of investing into a lot of systems that require a lot of infrastructure also to get going, for them this is an encouragement where they, you know, where citizen developer is the term, where business analyst can also develop apps instead of going the full scale development cycle and building something completely top down, which larger organizations would use. So for you, the encouragement or the motivation would be is because it is easy to get on board of Power Platform, because it is low code and you guys already are working with code so much. It shouldn't be at all difficult for you to get a hang of what Power Platform really is. um, and first of all, it's fun. Your solution could be up within a few hours. Most of you already use SharePoint. Most of you already, of course, use your phones as well. Dynamics is something that is more industry-based applications like ERP and CRM and all those things. You don't need to do that. You don't need to get there, but you can start building simple applications that enriches your productivity and handles data and logic. And that's why Power Platform is much suitable for applications which are easy to build and whose purpose is doing one or two small units of tasks, and which is catered to very limited set of people. Like, let's say there is an account department in a firm, they don't need to get into the entire system and then find what they have to do small tasks. You could in fact be smart enough and build an application just for them, just for that department, which can be up and running within a few days, and they can just be filling out some simple forms and looking at some invoices and all those things. um, So it's just about getting started. All of you can just create a trial on Power Platform. You don't need you really don't need a credit card or something to get along. And it could just be a weekend activity for you, and you'll be, before you even know it, you'd already be working on Power Platform and learning all the function references right away. So it's just about getting started. That's it.
Thank you. That
It's actually quite interesting to see some of these use cases, and I think even in communities we end up touching on them. Like, I know that in the past, back when things were in person with events, sometimes for the audiences we used to get Azure vouchers, and I remember using a Power Automate flow to distribute them.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ways we can play around, and it's actually fun. It gets stuff done a lot quicker. And
Yes, yes. The speed at which you can deploy these apps is what is the reason enough to get you excited and going on. So
yeah.
it just doesn't take much time. It's easy, it's quick, it's fun, it's colorful also. If you're not using dark mode. So yeah.
I like the color part.
Yeah, I like
same.
that's why I mentioned when Vivek asked me what I had to take away from the Ignite announcement. I said the experience of a native app, because I want to I want to perceive information that is more colorful. I don't have to read what the icon says. I just want to click on those colors. And this will happen as you get busy using more and more systems. You would definitely have less time, and you'd be irritated by the number of descriptions and buttons that are there. So that is a good way to start.
Yeah. So adding to Priyesh, what I'd say is there are two types of cars, as everybody know: gearless car and normal car, right? So it's okay to learn how to drive a car by
Yep.
changing gears, so that you can drive both gearless and the automatic car, right? So low code and no code platforms are something like that.
Correct.
And that is one thing. So it's good to go as a coding kind of mindset and all those things, but it is also good to play or just have a flavor of low code and no code platforms, like Aditya told. Just imagine, while we were in colleges, for any college event or something, there will be only one or two person who knows a Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop. We will be going and standing up to him, hey, please do this banner for me, like that. That's what it will be going on. But just now, Canva. I hope most of you would have used the tool Canva, right? Uh, that doesn't need any help or what to say, any expertise. You just need to go to canva.com, whatever banner you want, you just go and search there, you just do it, right? So that's a no code tool for for this kind of animation kind of things. So uh, the basic thing is understand the analogy, why there is three things are there: full code, low code, and no code. All these three platforms, tools exist in all these three platforms, and businesses run in all these three platforms, right?
Correct.
Each one saves, each one has importance for something. Like as you told, in colleges they insist you to go through coding, so that is one thing. But just in case, imagine that you get into a job, and or you become a startup CEO or something like that. You'd be having a bunch of responsibilities for all those things, for HR, for let's consider you are a startup CEO or something like that. There will be a HR team, there will be a operations team, and everything, right? You might like coding, but you need not go and sit and write, oh, I like coding, I will develop all the applications on my own. Then who will run the company, right? So as a person, if you are familiar with this idea of no code and low code and kind of stuff, you can ideate your need and get it solved quickly. It is very simple. Power BI is free. I mean, now what I say simple is to think around. Power BI is free, right? So just fetch a very sample, very simple sample data, COVID-19 cases data or something like that. understand what is measures and what is dimensions. Just play around creating one or two visuals and publish it as a dashboard. You will get a satisfaction. Oh, this is the BI tool, or this is the dashboard. This is what news channels are showing it. Just relate with kind of things. It is not that a bunch of lines of code is all about programming. It is just a part. The arena is very big, and no code and low code is a very blessing thing to understand the broader in a broader perspective. Yeah.
I mean, that's a amazing analogy. In fact, almost, I did not stop you because it was such an interesting to hear you there. Thanks Dinesh for giving us that analogy, and if everybody has 2 minutes of time, I can actually play the Ambrish video. We can all see that what he has built as well. So I'll just share my screen. I'm not sure will uh, the volume works there. Let me see. Let us try this and see. Okay.
Vivek, can I take a minute
Yeah.
about this? So as you all know, Ambrish is experienced for more than 2 decades, 20 years and above, but still see how he's passionate to learn new things. See, 20 years of life is not something easier. His kids would have grown up, a lot of family pressure, a lot of pressure would be there, but still I see the passion of learning and sharing back to the community as well, finding the
It's
time and sharing
commendable.
back to the community as well. That's one thing each one of us should was from him, even though
Definitely.
cannot
That will be the takeaway from today's discussion. It will be
Yeah,
the point number one. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Dinesh.
very, very generous of you, Dinesh and Vivek, to say of really humbled by your comments.
So I'm just sharing this screen so that we can take a look at that video. This has not been launched anywhere yet. Even Ambrish has not seen this, I believe. Okay, you can see my screen, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see the. Can you hear? Can you hear?
I think if you stop sharing and share by flicking the switch to computer audio as well, I think then the audio should also come through.
Here is it?
Once you stop sharing and when you try to reshare, there's a small switch above your screen which says computer audio, so that lets the audio
Good one.
through.
Yeah. I've never done a YouTube video like this before. So when I'm doing that,
Yeah, when you click on share,
the sound, yeah, perfect.
it has the audio button. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just playing it, because it's so important to understand the work which Amrish does on a daily basis, apart from his day job.
Every bite of the food you eat relies on pollination by bees. So it's important to protect bees and to help them thrive. When a beekeeper looks inside of a hive, it's clear if the bees are healthy. But opening the hive disturbs the bees' delicate ecosystem. So bees must be observed when they leave the hive. Using Azure Custom Vision Services, we can create an image classification and prediction model to observe bees at a scale and speed that wasn't possible before. And it's not as complicated as you think. Let's walk through these simple steps. To start, you gather a data set and create a custom vision resource in Azure. Next, you create a new custom vision project. Now upload and tag the images. In this case, images of healthy bees and sick bees. After training is completed, the model's performance is estimated and displayed. Before long, it can accurately classify new images. Pretty cool, right? With a little work, this project can be used by beekeepers around the world to monitor the health of their bees without bothering them. This project was put together by Ambrish Ganguly, a senior consultant, developer, researcher, educator, and a mentor. who is driven by his passion to use technology for social good.
Hope you like this story about MP. Azure Cognitive Services brings AI in the hands of every developer without requiring machine learning expertise. With a little bit of creativity, with constant upskilling, there are ample opportunities for citizen scientists to bring AI projects and to develop AI projects about environment, health, humanitarian issues, and many others. And if I could be a part of that, my life could become more meaningful and purposeful.
That's a great ending to the discussions we were having today, right?
Thank you, Vivek, and so very generous of Microsoft and all the community members for hearing, and especially to Dinesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Rashmita, you have any final thoughts?
No, I just want to say thank you all for this amazing session, and thank you all for joining us. Please feel free to do event check-in and please share your feedback about today's session. Thank you once again. It was an amazing session. Thank you. Good night to all of you.
Thanks, folks. See you. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks, Vivek. That was nice talking to you. We didn't felt any kind of thing. It was so friendly talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Vivek.
I just